else.
The president-elect expands his team again. 3 women named to high-level jobs. High winds, snow, rain, and sleet whipped the northeast United States in one of the worst December storms ever. And day 3 of Operation Restore Hope goes full speed forward amid confusion over where it's headed. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting live from Mogadishu, Somalia. Good evening. The U.S. Marines are increasing their visibility, increasing their patrols on the main streets of Mogadishu tonight. They've had to. Suddenly things got more volatile and tougher again after a period of relative calm. More Marines and more U.S. equipment poured into Somalia from every direction today. The U.S. buildup is ahead of schedule, even as questions and doubts multiply about how much the Americans can do, how fast, and where it all leads in this chaotic country. Bob Simon begins our reports from Somalia.
The Americanization of Mogadishu was in full swing today. Those giant birds kept dropping in from California, disgorging whole companies of Marines. 2 full battalions were on the ground by midday, savoring the relative cleanliness, order, and precision of this little American enclave, surrounded by the anarchy which is Somalia. The Lieutenant Jack Loomis, a Marine supply ship, treaded water off the coast until dawn, then docked and started offloading. The logistics officers had been briefed about conditions in Somalia, but there's no such thing as a real briefing about Somalia.
We thought it would be bad, but it's worse than we thought. There's really nothing here. There's no electric, there's no equipment to speak of, and we got to do everything ourselves. Slowly,
gingerly, platoons stepped out from the port to see and be seen, to take an unhurried look at their future. The Marines have been ordered to push out from their perimeters to establish checkpoints, observation posts, regular patrols. They want to impose some order on the city, which means that the hard part of the operation has just begun. They walked past a street corner and there was a man with a semi-automatic. The Marines got excited. The man didn't seem to understand why. "It's my gun. I'm not aiming at you. What's the problem?"
You come back to our compound and you show documentation, we'll give you the weapon back. I'm not giving it back now.
Back in the port, the biggest problems were caused by those hungry kids who the Marines came here to help. They were getting through the lines and grabbing bags of grain. The Marines tried to stop them and then thought again. Marines as angels of mercy. They were playing their new role in many places, patching up a young man who'd been injured in this morning's round of gang warfare.
What did you get hit with?
You could see it in his eyes. He'd never been treated this well before. Captain David Clement went on a long and lonely quest this afternoon. He wanted to establish contact with the local authorities. But what authorities? Where? Some men who called themselves policemen were standing around, but they were busy chewing cat, the national narcotic. One man, trying to be friendly, offered him some.
Drink what we drink and eat what we eat. We cannot do that. It's illegal.
The UN Secretary General wants the Marines to suppress the drug trade, disarm the clans, and form a police force. After just 2 days here, the Americans understand why all these things are necessary and why they'll never have enough men or enough time. Bob Simon, CBS News, Mogadishu.
Peace talks got underway here today between the 2 clan leaders or warlords most responsible for the long-standing trouble in Mogadishu. U.S. Ambassador Robert Oakley provided the place and the means. Protection was by the U.S. Marines. Alan Pizzi reports.
U.S. Marines with enough firepower to level the town escorted Somalia's 2 major warlords to peace talks today. Anywhere else, a display of high-tech weaponry like this would be intimidating. But this is arguably the maddest place on earth, and logic holds no sway. Ali Mahdi crossed into enemy territory and was mobbed under the adulation of people he has been trying to kill. Muscle and macho barely loosened their grip, so the Marines called for help. If this is what it takes to clear a traffic jam, what will it take to fix the country? After hours of American refereed negotiation, deadly foes made a symbolic embrace and a predictable plea to countrymen whose lives they wrecked.
To seriously engage in cessation of hostilities and join with us for peace and unity of Somalia.
The bottom line of the warlords' pleas, plans, and promises is that they want the international community to do most of the work, to move beyond relief aid to the reconstruction of Somalia. But Somalis were too busy competing for whatever was available on the streets. With guns hidden from the Americans, pickpockets, muggers, and petty thieves run rampant. Security at the airport made it easier to bring in food, but aid officials want firepower out covering the roads in the famine-hit areas of the countryside.
If we have helicopter gunships overhead, it means the NGOs' lives will be comparatively safe, and therefore they'll be able to go on working. If they go on working, we can go on manning the kitchens, and therefore people won't die.
But so far, there isn't real order, never mind resurrection, even in this little pocket of the country. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Mogadishu.
Just 3 days into the U.S. effort here in Somalia, the goalposts suddenly have been moved. UN Secretary General Boutros Ghali now says he wants the Americans to disarm all the warlords, disarm all the mines, stop the drug trade, and train a new police force. Just what are the U.S. goals in this country? Correspondent Mark Phillips has a CBS Evening News reality check.
The sight of U.S. troops in desert fatigues in a faraway land may have become familiar of late, but there is a lot that is unique, a lot that is troublesome about this intervention in Somalia. Not only is there no direct American interest at stake here, no enemy to stymie as in Vietnam, no resource to protect as in Kuwait, in Somalia there is also no clearly stated, no commonly understood policy. This may not trouble some who helped make foreign policy in the past.
Somebody has to take the lead, and it seems quite apparent after watching this horrible tragedy unfold that only the United States was willing to take the lead.
But this was an operation triggered by heart-rending TV pictures. Cynically put, this is foreign policy by photo op. However humanitarian, it is an arbitrary intervention that students of foreign policy, like syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer, say could use some rules.
Unless we want to have a rash of wars of altruism, we're going to have a restrictive doctrine which explains Somalia in a way that doesn't commit us to doing the same thing everywhere in the world, because if we do the same thing everywhere in the world, we are going to be exhausted and bled to death.
American foreign policy has almost always been based on doctrine. The Truman Doctrine sought to contain the spread of communism and led to war in Korea. The Nixon Doctrine used local forces as well as American to fight communism in Vietnam. The Reagan Doctrine carried it further, trying to roll back communism in Central America and Afghanistan. Somalia is different. An intervention based on suffering begs other questions. What about all the suffering in Bosnia? Or elsewhere where it hasn't been so vividly depicted on TV, like in Liberia, or in Angola, or Mozambique, or even Haiti, to name but a few places where the introduction of 30,000 U.S. troops would do a world of good. Where do you draw the line? If there is now a Bush or Somalia doctrine, it seems to require a clear humanitarian need, where massive American force can be used with quick results and with relatively little danger. Under these rules, Somalia qualifies, but Bosnia doesn't. The problem is this policy has never been explicitly stated, and in this void, the expectation of American action, both at home and abroad, remains vague, unsettled, and unpredictable. Mark Phillips, CBS News, Washington.
I'll be back with much more later in the broadcast from Somalia, but coming up next, Connie Chung in New York with the rest of the day's news, including President-elect Clinton's appointments of 3 women to top jobs. So stay here with us.
Get away!
Shoot some slices, shoot some shreds, shoot some salad. Salad, salad, salad shooter.
Presto Salad Shooter Slicer Shredder. Point and shoot right where you want. Clean up easy, dishwasher safe, store anywhere.
Salad shooter.
Original and professional salad shooter.
This man's incredibly close, comfortable shave comes from the Norelco razor. But to see how he got it, we must go back to when he began shaving, not just above the skin, but below it. Here, our lift and cut system lifts the hair so when it's cut, it can drop below skin level without the blades touching your face. Try it, and you'll keep going back to Norelco for a perfect shave. Norelco, we make close comfortable.
Black & Decker says, why struggle? Get the power you need with Black & Decker's corded hand vac. With a motorized brush and a 25-foot cord, it cleans tough jobs in tough places. The corded dirt vac, only from Black & Decker.
President-elect Clinton is trying to stop talk that his top team members are mostly Washington and Wall Street insiders and mostly male. Today, he named 3 women to key posts and a labor secretary who is not on corporate America's A-list. Susan Spencer has the story live from Little Rock. Susan?
Connie, the top jobs filled today included posts at Health and Human Services and Labor, and for both, Clinton went outside Washington. Sounding almost like George Bush, the president-elect said he tapped talents in the states and universities for a reason.
These appointees know the limits of what government can do, as well as what government must do. They understand that sometimes the best thing the government can do, the best thing a public servant can do, is to help those in the private sector to solve their own problems.
Named to cabinet-level jobs, University of Wisconsin Chancellor Donna Shalala to head the massive Department of Health and Human Services. At the helm at Labor, liberal Harvard economist Robert Reich. No favorite of business, he's a strong backer of job training and education programs.
There is the possibility of working with a president who understands the importance of investing in people as a means of achieving economic growth.
Also tapped today, Florida Environmental Secretary Carol Browner to head the EPA, and University of California economist Laura Tyson, the first woman to head the Council of Economic Advisors. Clinton's picks include many women, but so far there's not a minority in sight.
I think that when you see the whole cabinet, it will be genuinely reflective of this country in racial and gender terms.
Party Chairman Ron Brown, who arrived in Little Rock late this afternoon, is expected to get a cabinet job, Commerce Secretary or UN Ambassador. And former San Antonio Mayor Henry Cisneros is considered the frontrunner for the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Senator Tim Wirth is thought the top contender for energy. More announcements could come as early as tomorrow. But 3 of the biggest jobs are still hanging. The rumor mill candidate for Secretary of State has shifted from General Colin Powell to Transition Director Warren Christopher. Congressman Les Aspin is thought to lead the pack for defense. Nobody knows who the favorite is for Attorney General, but we are promised that this will all be over by Christmas. Connie?
Thank you. Susan Spencer in Little Rock. Next week in Little Rock, Governor Clinton will be hosting hundreds of experts at an economic policy conference. One of the goals is to sell the public on Clintonomics. But what about business leaders who have the power to hire and fire? Ray Brady has a sampling of their expectations in tonight's report on the Money Crunch.
Think of them as judge and jury. If America's business leaders like Mr. Clinton's economic policies, their own business policies could bring on an expanding economy and, above all, more jobs. And although only 1 in 5 actually voted for Mr. Clinton, a majority are cautiously optimistic.
He seems determined to get to grips with the economy, so I'm more optimistic than I was, say, 3 months ago.
Indeed, 60% of the business leaders say the economy's getting better. Only a slender 5% see it getting worse. Banker Pat Grant represents the quarter of the executives who say the deficit is the most important long-term problem facing the economy.
We're spending so much of our budget just paying interest on the money we borrow that I think we can't move forward unless we get that under control.
For now, though, it's jobs, jobs, jobs. 63% say creating jobs is the most immediate problem, even more so than the deficit.
Whether President-elect Clinton will get much help on jobs from corporate America is questionable. While some of the executives say they'll be hiring, more than half say lean and mean remains the order of business.
We don't see ourselves growing in terms of employees, but we're concentrating very much on higher levels of productivity, doing more with less.
What might speed up the economy? An overwhelming 92% say an investment tax credit, a tax break that would get companies to build plants or buy equipment.
For instance, if I was to have tax investment credit, I might buy 8 trucks immediately so I can write them off a lot faster.
How accurate are these business leaders' predictions? Over 80% said the Clinton election would increase consumer confidence. And figures out today show retail sales up. Ray Brady, CBS News, The Money Crunch.
A major setback today for the prosecutor in the Iran-Contra case. A federal judge in Washington threw out a key charge against former Defense Secretary Caspar Weinberger. The judge ruled that the 5-year statute of limitations has run out on the charge that Weinberger lied to Congress. Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, odd scenes in the Northeast today, traffic unusually buoyant.
When the person who doctors the family gets a cough and cold, everyone suffers.
Mom, someone took my sleeve.
I ironed it myself. Time to doctor that cough with Robitussin, because more doctors and pharmacists recommend Robitussin than any other cough medicine.
Look, Mom's feeling better. Uh-oh.
Robitussin, recommended by Dr. Mom. Which Robitussin is right for you? Ask your doctor or pharmacist. And now there's Robitussin cough drops. Cough drops from the cough experts.
Congratulations, what do you say?
Chapstick medicated, please.
Introducing Chapstick Medicated, triple medicated. You can feel it working immediately. New Chapstick Medicated, triple medicated relief.
Only Sears has great values on Craftsman tools.
Right now, choose this 4-piece plier set, 19-piece screwdriver set, or 9-piece standard or metric wrench set. Just $19.99 each, only at Sears.
You can count on me.
How many times I told my dad to see a doctor. He was stubborn. But the pain in his stomach just wouldn't go away. He had to go. You should have seen the relief on his face when the doctor said Mylanta. He said it was indigestion, and his kind of indigestion needed strong medicine.
Mylanta is strong medicine, strongly recommended. In fact, Mylanta is the antacid doctors recommend most.
My doctor said Mylanta.
Also available in tablets and new gel caps.
How would you like to leave your house every morning and find him waiting outside? He terrorizes the neighborhood and the cops can't do a thing about it. How come? Watch 60 Minutes, Sunday.
For the people in the Northeast, this was a day to remember, but not to repeat. Wind, rain, and snow made life miserable for millions. They haven't begun to add up the damage, but fortunately, there were few reported casualties. Richard Threlkeld has the wet and wild story.
It wasn't a hurricane, so the Weather Service never gave it a name. Even so, this nameless northeaster has become the worst storm to hit the eastern seaboard in more than a generation. Winds of 90 miles an hour and tides 5 feet above normal lashed the New Jersey shore, flooding whole towns and forcing mass evacuations.
Well, I'll tell you, I lived in the Highlands all my life, and I haven't seen anything like this since Hurricane Donna.
Where it wasn't raining, it was snowing. 2 feet and more in New England and the eastern mountains. The snowfall even delayed the departure of the Army's 10th Mountain Division, which was scheduled to leave upstate New York today for Somalia. Kids in Pittsburgh got an early Christmas present where there was close to a foot of snow. But the storm dropped rain on New York City, and by late today, much of it was awash. Winds and flooding closed some of the airports and for a time virtually shut down the subway and commuter train systems. A lot of commuters found it all mission impossible.
I tried to make my way to work and just flooded all over the place. So I'm just going to leave it here and go back home.
It's bad now, and it's not likely to get much better before at least tomorrow when this storm finally blows itself out to sea. Richard Threlkeld, CBS News in tempest-tossed New York City.
Did you know the world produces enough food to feed everyone on Earth? Yet, according to the United Nations, 780 million people are going hungry. In Rome today, delegates to a UN conference on nutrition called this unacceptable. They pledged to wipe out famine by the turn of the century. Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather makes an emotional visit to a feeding center for starving Somalis.
Imagine a rent-a-car company that offers special delivery right to your door. That's Enterprise.
Here, let me help you.
Enterprise, a special rent-a-car company that gives you special delivery.
The Remington microscreen shaves as close as a blade or your money back.
2 flexible screens let you shave whiskers below skin level. It's quick, smooth, comfortable. A great value. The Remington Microscreen.
Boy, you look mad. Let me guess. Your long-distance calling plan is driving you nuts. Do they make you submit names, call at certain times, pay fees? The most from Sprint is so easy you wouldn't have to do all that. It saves you big on whoever you call the most each month automatically. Sprint understands. Sprint likes you. Sprint cares. Call now, before you forget how mad you were.
It always happens at the worst time. A sudden attack of diarrhea. And you give anything to get back in control. Introducing Pepto Diarrhea Control. It's made with the strongest diarrhea medicine you can buy. So it often stops diarrhea the first time you take it. Nothing works better than this. And this is from Pepto-Bismol. Take control with new Pepto Diarrhea Control.
My favorite thing about the holidays? The NFL plays on Saturdays, too. This week on CBS, the Giants battle the Cardinals. 'Tis the season, and I'm a big fan.
We're coming into Badoa. Badoa is about 120 miles west of Mogadishu. Reputation, tough town. Killings here over the weekend. Relief workers have been pleading for help.
In the middle of town, not far from the mosque and the marketplace, there's a feeding center for children, run by Western relief workers. The children and those who would save them are under siege by the bullies of Badoa, gunmen who repeatedly attack the relief agency's compounds, trying to loot them of food and money.
3 times. One attempt was one of these armed four-wheel drive vehicles tried to ram the gates. A second time, some people got over the wall. They were driven off by one of our guards with a bayonet. Third time, a group of one of these armed Land Cruisers came up alongside the wall, and the guards fired over their heads and drove them off.
Is this where they drove the armored four-wheel drive vehicle?
That's right, into the gate, yeah. We put another gun emplacement over there to cover the gates and to protect our guys. We put guys around the walls at night to fire in the air if anyone comes around. It's my personal feeling that 2 men and a dog with an American flag would scare these guys off. They're not interested in fighting. Their only interest is to make the maximum amount of money in the shortest amount of time out of the agencies that are here.
Yeah, this is a camel over which the clans are said to have fought over the weekend. The story is that the camels showed up at the marketplace. One clan said, "Hey, that's our camel." The other clan said, "The hell it is." And they started shooting at one another. And that's when the children got hit. This is the children's ward of a local hospital. We came here to talk to the doctors and the relief workers. They tell us that any number of these children are just hanging by the thread of life.
Would you just help me? Don't let the baby fall off right over my gloves. Thank you. We had about 30 casualties at the marketplace, and this little baby was a little inadvertent bystander who got a bomb blast to its eye, which is now gone, and a skull fracture. The child's been on IV medicines here. He's actually doing very, very well. See if he calms down pretty nice.
Rub his feet.
Pardon?
Rub his feet.
Yeah,
down.
that's right. You must have kids. You know that old trick. Yeah. Hopefully when the Marines come, that'll stop the gunshot wounds, and then we can work on the nutrition problems and the infections and the illnesses and take better care of the kids that way.
And the Marines are coming soon. Today, a pair of F-14 fighters swept across the sky over Badoa, preparing the way for a land force.
Down the street, right down the gut of the main drag, comes some of the bullet boys. The message from Badoa to the U.S. Marines and Army is, hurry. Time's a-wasting. The clock is running.
For great values on fitness equipment, count on Sears.
Right now, get this 1 1/4 horsepower treadmill at the lowest price we've ever offered for an 8-mile-per-hour model. Only $399.99. Only at Sears now.
You can count on me.
In Alaska, you'll find 586,000 square miles of untamed wilderness. 17 of the tallest peaks in the U.S. 427 species of birds, and more than 100,000 glaciers. But you'll find there's just one way to experience it. Princess. Because there's no place on Earth like Alaska and no cruise line like Princess. It's more than a cruise. It's the Love Boats.
Norelco says don't shave your legs, baby them. With Norelco's incredibly close, comfortable shave that leaves you baby smooth, baby soft. Norelco Lady Shave Razors, dry or wet, we make close comfortable.
Isotoner offers as many styles and colors as there are ways to express yourself. Isotoner gloves. Make your own kind of music.
These vegetables are about to be perfectly steamed, like food has never been steamed before, in the Black & Decker Handy Steamer. Because deliciously steamed food requires perfect timing.
Oh, great. Just what my stomach needs. Here comes my obnoxious boss.
Hi, Daddy.
Better make it Malox. Because for moments like this, nothing Mylanta makes neutralizes as much stomach acid as Extra Strength Malox Plus. So why take anything else?
We were just talking about you.
Nice, I hope.
My mother's here, too.
Great. Nobody knows your stomach better, so you better make it Malox.
Day 3 of Operation Restore Hope saw more progress and more frustration. The U.S. military has yet to take on its most urgent task, the securing of relief to the lawless interior of Somalia. Sooner or later, they have to start running convoys in there. It may be another week to 10 days, though, before American troops take on the bullies of Badoa and elsewhere. In the meantime, people starve, some will die. Perhaps the toughest truth here is that nothing can prevent the deaths of many more Somalis. Even in the best-case scenario, it may take months before the famine can be curbed. So the U.S. military tonight is proceeding with all deliberate speed toward an uncertain goal. For the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather reporting from Mogadishu, Somalia. Good night.
Experience CBS News.
This is CBS.
Good evening.